التكرير and الانحراف are two essential traits that you have to know if you want to master the sound of ra, or if you want to self-diagnose a certain pronunciation problem when pronouncing the ra in the Quran. Takreer is a unique trait to the letter ra, and inhiraf concerns the letters ra and lam. We are discussing them together because they depend on one another, and understanding the effect of one requires the other. Let's start with al-inhiraf, which happens with the letters lam and ra. Inhiraf literally means deviation or changing direction, and in simple terms, it refers to the deviation of airstream when pronouncing ra and lam. When it comes to lam, air cannot go directly to the outside of the mouth when pronouncing lam, but rather it goes around the raised tongue, whose tip is touching the alveolar ridge and standing in the way, as you can see in these two charts. This deviation of air is what causes the unique sound of lam, and it is simply all what inhiraf is for lam. Al. So air is passing from both sides of the tongue to the outside. But the deviation or redirection of air for ra is quite the opposite, because instead of going around the tongue, it goes through that small opening between the tip of the tongue and the alveolar ridge, which then creates the unique sound of ra. Arr. Arr. This is inhiraf. But how can this be useful in improving ra pronunciation in any way? Well, this will make more sense as we move further to the definition of takreer. Takreer is essentially a slight vibration to the tip of the tongue caused by the narrow makhraj or opening, and this small vibration is that unique sound of ra. So since it depends on the narrow exit point or opening through which air passes, as we just explained, inhiraf enables takreer, and without it, takreer will not happen at all or will not be executed properly. So proper takreer without exaggeration requires proper execution of inhiraf and directing the air through the proper exit point. And right at this point, 90% of the pronunciation problems of ra is caused. So listen carefully as you might identify your problem right here. The first thing that can go wrong is if that narrow opening is blocked or it is too narrow to let air pass through it. If it is too narrow or blocked, it won't allow inhiraf to be properly executed. This then causes the trait of takreer to intensify or project itself in a wrong way, producing multiple consecutive ra's. And it sounds like this. Arr. This happens mostly when you pronounce ra with shadda. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Ruh, Ar-Rih. This repetition of ra happens because air cannot escape from behind the tongue from that small opening. So air pushes the entire tip of the tongue to escape, and with pressure already applied on the tongue, it causes the tongue to go back and forth several times, which then gives us the r sound. And this exaggerated form of takreer, or flapping the tongue, should be avoided, since it would be as if you're adding extra ra's to the word, which is more than what the word should have. Saying Ar-Rahman would then be a mistake, and it is considered as lahn khafi, so it doesn't change the meaning, but if you can, you have to avoid it. And here it is important to know that this version of ra would be acceptable if you're not reciting the Quran. It is understandable, and many Arabs actually use it this way without overly exaggerated flapping in their normal speech. The second thing that can go wrong is if the opening is too wide, and because of this, the letter loses the trait of inhiraf completely, since air will just simply pass over the tongue without any resistance or redirection whatsoever. And as a result, it turns off takreer completely, producing a common but a wrong version of ra. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Ruh, Ar-Rih. So this version of ra is completely wrong and should not be used in any context, inside or outside the Quran. Which then leaves us with the third possibility, which is finding the balance between too wide of an opening and too narrow. And finding this sweet spot requires some practice. It should enable inhiraf properly and adequately, and at the same time, it enables takreer moderately without exaggeration. Ar-Ra, Ar-Ra. Again, you are the best one who can help you find that sweet spot. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Ruh. So it is Ar-Ra, Ar-Ri, Ar-Ru. And in case of ra that has no shadda, Rabihat, Fir'aun, Rubama, Tartaddu. Finally, it is also important to know that if you have been pronouncing ra in a different way for years because of your mother tongue, it would require a lot of practice to make the tongue behave in a different way. So be patient and don't give up too quickly on it. And insha'Allah, you will get there. Thanks for watching. If you want to start reading and understanding the Quran in Arabic, then you should start your journey right here. And don't forget to check out my latest book, which goes perfectly with this free course. I'll leave the links for all of them in the description, so check them out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.